What's up, guys? Midwestern RC, and I got something a little special for you today. We got the Furitek Cayman Pro 4x4, but I've done a few things to it. I made it a 4x4 front steer, rear steer. So now it's a 4x4x4. Four-wheel suspension, four-wheel drive, four-wheel steer, or as I call it, rear steer, which is what I'll get into shortly. This thing has an SR315 bound to a Capra four-wheel steering remote. I'll show you guys why I chose this when we get on the rocks, so let's go there right now. All right, Cayman Pro 4x4x4 out on the course. Now, what I like personally about the four-wheel steering, rear steer, whatever you want to call it, I call this rear steer because you can control the rear axle separately from the front versus like an AX24. Once you put in four-wheel steering mode, you turn the front tires left, the rear tires are going right. I don't like that you can't control them separately, which is why I actually sold that car. So there we are. See if we can make it over to the bridge. Another thing I really like about these Furitek cars and Furitek electronics in general is just how crazy slow they go. I mean, look at that Outrunner motor right now. I'll try to go as slow as I can. And yeah, that right there is as slow as this thing can crawl, which is pretty crazy. All right, I'm gonna get to the other side so I can get a better view for this. All right, now you're about to see the one thing that I hate about the Cayman Pro 4x4 is it has a metal skid plate. Now, being a competition rig, that is definitely its greatest flaw. I'll kind of show you what I mean. So that's the skid plate right there, right? Being metal, it just catches on everything. Like right here especially, I'll try to go up it and I'm just gonna showcase like it getting caught, because I know it gets caught right here, versus if it was a plastic one or a 3D printed one. I'm gonna see if a friend of mine can make a 3D printed skid, because the 3D printed material would slide much easier over this little tip right there. So you're going up, you know, everything's going smooth. So that's kind of what you run into with this thing when you're rock crawling. So it's gonna get caught, you know, on this skid plate right here quite a bit. All right, so I know this line right here is gonna be tricky. We're gonna try to go up and over. See that 1, 2, 3, 4 ledge, and then up on top of that rock. I did this the other day on this, the different wheel and tire setup that I had. So we'll see if we can do it again. Those Reefs RC 179 servos are just a total game changer. I'm only running them at 6.5 volts. The max they can run is 8.4, which is like mind-blowing, because this is crazy, like how much speed and torque you get out of these as is. But the ESC is limited to 6.5 volts. So, all right, let's get up there. It's getting bit by a freaking bug. All right, let's try to fix that little mistake. I don't want the back tires to fully drop off. They did, but I was able to save it. Now, something that I'm gonna try to show and demonstrate when it happens is in four-wheel steer, sometimes the car has a tendency to kind of scrub in place. And when that's happening, all 4 tires are not getting the traction that they could. So when you think you need four-wheel steering, sometimes you just straighten out the wheels or turn it a little differently, and you'd be surprised how much better traction you can get. Like right now, I want that right front pointed towards the tire. So I'm having the back 2 tires, which have contact with the rock, I'm having them facing the same angle that that front right is, and that's gonna make the rear that's getting power give the front more traction, more power to get up this obstacle. We're gonna slow crawl up. Kind of hanging on that left. I didn't see that because the truck's in the way. I'm gonna position the tires a little better. I think I'm caught on the rear portal. Yeah. All right, we're gonna try this line again, just from a better vantage point. Being able to see all 4 tires at once is gonna make a huge difference. There we are. We're caught on that back portal, right under that rock. Might be hard to overcome that. There we go. I think that's it. Let's see. Now that back right is going to drop down into that crack, but if I can get that front right to hook over the top of that part, the rock, it wouldn't really matter. So I'm not going to cut anything in the editing. I'm going to talk with you guys. I'm just repositioning myself. I have a little bit of throttle going on. And there we are. Nice, good line. Now right here where I'm sitting, this is my favorite spot to sit when I'm on the crawler course for obvious reasons. I'm right underneath a tree, so it can be hot, it can be cold, and I can be away from the elements. I mean, if it's raining, obviously I'm not going to be out here, but now this line right here, kind of tricky, making it up here and then getting down and over that. As you can see, it's like a not 90-degree drop off, but just a very, very, very steep slope. Now, interestingly enough, I thought that adding a servo to the rear was going to throw off the weight balance, because you ideally want like 60% of the weight up front, 40% in the rear. I don't know what it is. I can't even like estimate it, so I'm not even going to. But I gotta say, I'm very shocked with how much this can do in terms of like vertical crawling. That's where you really want the 60-40 weight. Let me just focus for a second. It's like half of crawling is focusing, you know? Trying to do videos and crawl at the same time is tricky, especially for me, because I have ADHD. But anyways, having that rear servo, it did another thing that I never really thought of with crawling, is it helps with descents, because it, you know, there's more weight in the back. You're gonna see that in a second right up here. Granted that this rock, just how it has the little curve where the center skid plate is right now, and being that I have the bigger Injora pin tires, it clears the center skid plate. Fun story, these are the 62mm or 63mm, the bigger pins. I have the smaller pins as well. The smaller pins cannot make it through here because the skid plate bottoms out and gets caught on that rock. So again, if you know someone that's already made a 3D printed skid plate for one of these, please let me know, because I could really use one for my 6x6 as well. But with that rear servo, you know, we got a good balance. So the truck is like almost straight up and down. But with that rear servo, it keeps some weight in the back, which I'm actually enjoying for a lot of the descents that I never thought I would enjoy as much as you know, climbing. All right, now this thing isn't perfect. I'm gonna show you a line that my TRX4M can do, but this thing cannot do. Now, I think the general consensus, or at least how it's marketed, is that this thing is a 24th scale vehicle. Here's a picture of it next to my SCX24. And as you can see, it's quite larger than my SCX24, which I think that's like the standard of, okay, is it a 24th scale or not, you know? So right up here, my TRX4M can make this if I pick like the almost exact right line, which I've practiced a lot with that car, and I can do it like half of the time that I try on the first try. But I think these tires are just too tall, or the skid plate gets caught in the center, and that's why I can't do this line. But yes, believe it or not, my TRX4M can crawl up this and over it and down it. The fronts are up. My TRX4M, once the fronts are up, the rest just kind of happens. Whoa. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. So you guys saw it. It just did it. I was trying to just prove a point that like this thing can't do everything. That was one of the lines that this car couldn't do. My TRX4M could do. I did it once with my SCX24 and that's it. Out of all the other micros, the 6x6 can't even do that line. All right, so let's finish out this line. Again, the sense on this part, like the TRX4M definitely always tips over unless I like throttle it out. But with that servo in the rear, you can fall in love with the sense, if that makes sense. Now the stock servo on the Cayman Pro 4x4, it's not bad. It's not the greatest though, but the Reef's Smart 179 right there. If your servo can do that, it's because it's crazy fast and crazy strong. I mean, this is on 6.5 volts. This ESC goes to 5 volts to 6.5 volts. This servo you can run up to 8.4 volts. I could not imagine this thing on 8.4 volts. It's more than enough right now, but if they ever have a ESC in the future that I can run 8.4 volts on both, that might be worth the upgrade. All right, so if you're new to this channel, you can probably leave at this point. So I just have a message for the people that have been asking me in comments and asking me on Instagram and everything. I'm not done with social media, but my God, did it get toxic. Sure, it's nice getting free stuff, you know, like when I was monetized on Instagram, again, I'm not anymore. It was nice to like be able to make money from like doing this hobby. But it got neurotic in the sense of all I thought about day and night was making this post for that company, or making this reel, or how to make a better transition, or how to get more views. Or you would make an amazing reel by like, I hate to sound egotistical, but like by my standards, which I got to 110,000 followers on Instagram for a reason, by good reels. You would post a good reel and then it would do awful. It would do so bad. And you would sit there and you'd just be like, why isn't it doing good? Like I'm doing everything right. And yeah, it's too frustrating. I got into this hobby because my dad died and we weren't close. RC was like the only thing that we really had together. It was positive. That's why I got back into RC. But now I'm at a point where I'm literally struggling to just find enjoyment in the hobby as is. Again, this is the personal section of this video. I used to train for Ironmans. I used to be crazy into like exercise and health. I used to weigh a lot less. I also used to use PEDs, performance enhancing drugs, because I was that crazy about like the high from exercising. And long story short, I blew out my knee and my ankle, and even walking hurts, yoga hurts. Like, yes, I've tried glucosamine. Yes, I've tried TB500. I've tried BPC 157. So I need something that I can have fun with on my days off to occupy my free time. And social media just ruined the hobby for me, you know? So long story short, I'm still going to be doing videos very rarely. I might start doing a little bit more reels, but yeah, to keep things short, I'm basically just going to be working with a few brands that I personally like because I like their product and they've always been very good to me. There's a lot of brands out there that they're just really rude. I can't filter myself. They are straight up assholes. And they think they own you and they like talk down to you. Oh, and as far as like, well, aren't you monetized on YouTube, blah blah blah? So I am, but YouTube doesn't pay you until you hit $100 worth of views in a month. And the most I've gotten was $91 worth of views, and it never went up after that. And let me tell you, would you guys want to spend 8 to 12 hours filming editing, fixing, getting a car ready, charging batteries. Mainly, that's just editing and recording, the bread and butter of that 8 to 12 hours to make a 15 to 30 minute video that you put a shit ton of time and effort into. You have all these apps and everything. You know, I mean, I was paying money to like have these apps so I could edit videos better. And guess what? I was losing money because I never made money from YouTube. So if you're watching this and you're like, I want to do YouTube because I want to be like Mr. Beast, or I want to be like this person, or I want to be like that person, I want to make money, I want to quit my day job, take it from me. It doesn't happen like that, okay? It's rare that it happens, and you have to be incredibly good. You have to have a little bit of luck on your side too, but for me, not worth it. Just enjoy the hobby, enjoy everything in life. Okay, so one last thing too, and this is probably the most annoying and stressful part about the level that I got to, which isn't that high. I mean, 2,000 on YouTube. I'm at 109,000 on Instagram. I'm at 53,000 on TikTok. I can't tell you how many people, I would have to say like 4 out of 5 people that come to me and like try to like act like they're cool with me or be friends with me, whether it's in person or on the internet. It's fake. It's incredibly fake. And I hate nothing more than a fake person that's just trying to talk to someone because they think they're famous or something like that. I'm not famous. I'm not anybody. Guess what? Every single person, every single YouTuber, they're just a person. Like, stop idolizing them. It's so pathetic. But the one thing that was really pissing me off, and this happened multiple times, I had people that tried to become friends with me and call me their friend or this or that or their buddy or whatever you want to call it. And trust me when I say this, it's pathetic how many times I got, oh, hey, you think you could get me some free stuff? Oh, hey, you're sponsored by X brand or Y brand or Z brand. Could you get me some free this? Or, hey, I need something like this. Could you get me like something like this? Could you have them send this to you? And I'm just like, are you like, do you live on welfare or something? I mean, no offense to people that like need welfare, but like your mentality and your attitude, I'm doing the work for these companies. Again, it takes like 8 to 12 hours to make like a 15 to 30 minute video. And you're telling me that all of that work that I do that you didn't help with, you want some free stuff too? Right here. Midwestern RC out.